All right, it is another edition
We're back.
of the Change of Plans podcast. Happy New Year, everybody.
2025, new year, new us.
I haven't had any troubles yet writing that, and every year I do. I always struggle when the new year happens to write everything as 2025.
Yeah, but it's so easy to write. It's nice. It's got a nice flow.
I think that's what I've been very successful so far, and
we're on our bourbon kick, everyone. For people who can't see us, we're usually tequila guys, but I switched it up on good old Joe. It's a new year, new us.
That's right. We're going bourbon in 25.
Yeah, we're gonna do some stuff. So haven't seen you since the holiday.
Yeah.
I was I'm gonna say Christmas because I celebrate Christmas. You know, we're in this weird thing now where we only can say happy holidays. And I always get weirded out by it. No?
Really?
Are you by yourself on that? Because I don't assume everyone celebrates Christmas, but if we're weighing in on the heavyweights of holidays, this is something about say Merry Christmas. But now it's do you have to say Happy Holidays?
I've never bought into this idea that you couldn't say Merry Christmas. I think this is what it sort of boils down to, right? Say you're at the grocery store and you see a guy and he's wearing a yarmulke.
You don't say Merry Christmas to him.
You know what? Take your shot. Tell him Happy Hanukkah. Otherwise, hey, Happy Holidays to you and yours. That's great. He might even say, hey, Merry Christmas. You know what I mean? That's a Jewish guy, clearly. Or again, if you see somebody and they're wearing a hijab, don't Merry Christmas that guy. I think for the most part, and this is a funny story. I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite stories ever. The year was 2018. My older daughter and I were at a grocery store.
Yep.
And this guy's clearly a biker for Trump.
Oh,
okay.
Yep.
And he looks at me, he looks at my daughter, and he goes, and we were having a cute little conversation. He just sort of acknowledged the solid father-daughter relationship. And we started to part ways, and he said, Merry Christmas. And my daughter's haunches went up, oh, and we celebrate Christmas. Right?
But she got upset about it?
Yeah. And I looked at him and I said, Merry Christmas to you too.
Love it.
And we started walking away. And my daughter said, you should tell that guy, this behemoth of a biker, that he should say Happy Holidays. And I was like, listen.
First of all, as a man, we all have a checklist in our head too, right? We size up everybody. And there's, you 250 bald with a couple tats.
Yeah, let me tell you something, pal.
I'm good. My car better be running and real close to me.
I gotta get some stuff off my chest, sir. How dare you?
Happy Holidays.
So you know what I said to my daughter? I go, listen, it's really, you know what it boils down to? It's the intent. Mm-hmm. If I was wearing a yarmulke and he was like, Merry Christmas, motherfucker. All right, no, I see what we're doing here. Yeah. I said, dude, this guy sized this up. Bunch of white people from the suburbs, probably Christian in name.
Yeah.
Right? You celebrate. Yeah, why not?
So how was your Christmas, Joe?
My Christmas was it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Did you think it was gonna be bad for some reason?
Yeah, my Thanksgiving was not good. So I assumed Christmas with the same
follow suit.
Same group of people. It's like, what are you expecting something different? Here's the worst part. There were some family members who were sick.
Yep.
And who didn't come over. So my wife just informed me just before you got to the studio.
Gonna do another mini Christmas
this weekend. Yeah.
No.
Christmas 2.0.
That is the worst.
Why?
Because
I'm agreeing with you. I mean, why do I have to be subjected to this?
Like,
Because somebody was
I
sick. That's not my
can't-
fault.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like the multiple Christmases thing. I mean, whatever. If that's what your family does, cool beans. But like it's done. Like we're like in January. Like we're one day away from where you can't say Happy New Year to me anymore.
I was just gonna bring that up as a matter of
can't, like,
fact. I feel
it's-
like I'm at the end of my rope on
It's
that.
January 10th. That is the day.
Okay.
Next day, don't say Happy New Year to me. We're already in it, guys.
I turned my Christmas lights on tonight only because I knew you were coming and I wanted you to have light as you headed up the front way. Otherwise, those are done. As of January 6th, that's the 12th day of Christmas. And it's over.
It's over.
It's done.
It's done. So what was your favorite gift you got on Christmas?
I have been on my back deck. I like to sit and hang out.
Okay. Even when it's cold?
Even when it's cold.
Okay.
And I've been telling my family since we moved here 12 years ago, man, I would love a heater for outside.
You got a heater for outside?
Yeah, in year 12, somebody finally was like, you know what Dad always talks about getting?
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been laying the trap for you guys for years. So they did. They got me a really nice heater. It's it warms up that room so fast. I sit out there sometimes late at night on my laptop editing, and it's like, oh my God, it's amazing.
I really want to get, so underneath my deck, I put a ceiling with fans. So all weather, I mean, it's outside. So I want to get a smokeless fire pit. That's what I really want. Because I like to hang out outside, have my cigars. But that's a good gift, dude. That's nice. And it's nice after 12 years, they actually listen to you.
Yeah.
Took 12 years, but you got there, buddy.
Yep. Played the long game on that one. Every year, they're like, hey, what do you want?
They're
like a heater would be great out here, wouldn't it?
They're just putting $20 a year away so they can buy that heater for
Slowly
you.
but surely. How about you? What'd you get? You get anything nice?
I'm not, like, I will say, so I felt bad. My wife bought me like a nice wallet a little while ago. I lost it in the Uber. So my wife got me a new wallet. I'm a really hard guy to buy for, right? So my stepson got me a picture of us, like all framed out, which is super stoked, kind of sentimental. I'm a hard guy to buy for because I don't wait for holidays. I just go get shit. But we did go to New York City with my stepson and his girlfriend and my wife, which is, I had a great time, even though it's kind of like my biggest nightmare because I hate the city. I think it's dirty. I think the people are shitty. And I will say I kind of felt bad. I may have ruined it at the beginning. Right. So like we get there, we take the train, and now my wife like lived in the city, thinks she's J-Lo, so she just bebops around. Right. And I just want to get where we're going and just leave in one piece. And so we get there and automatically start waiting a cab. And I know this cab is taking the world's longest route to where we're getting to, right? So, and the kids really haven't been to a city. And my stepson's not big with crowds. Like, he doesn't even like going to the West Farms Mall. But he's doing the tough guy thing. He's with his girlfriend, right? So we get there and we're trying to do some shopping. And all of a sudden, the kids are hungry. And you know, New York City's got a million vendors. There's food everywhere in this dump of a city. They're like, we got to go to Smash Burger. Like, bro, that's at the West Farms Mall.
Yeah.
And it's like a mile and a half in the direction we just came from for an 80-minute that we're walking. And I'm old as shit and it's cold.
Yeah.
And I'm like fast old man walking. So like I was miserable for a bit. But it was a good time. The kids had fun. So I think for me, just spending the time, seeing my family, not to sound corny, but I don't get a lot of time to do that. So yeah, that was it. I like giving gifts. There's nothing better than giving gifts. So my wife, I love her to death. Worst reaction to gifts ever. Like ever. Like I got her like the best piece of workout equipment ever. Because she, you know, she's a fitness guru, stays in shape, teaches classes, spend a little bit of money on it. Oh, I think this is going to be really useful. Like that's the reaction.
Wow, this is going to be really useful.
Yeah, so me and the kid were laughing, but I couldn't have expected that because it's like when I proposed her, she's like, "Oh, that's nice." Like, man, that was the reaction. So Christmas was good. We didn't do much on New Year's. New Year's Day was my anniversary, my whopping 3-year wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, it's been a long road, long 3 years. So we did pizzas and just hung out, and now I'm here, trying to figure out how my life is going to change. What I know your favorite New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, listen, here's the thing. New Year's resolutions are a good idea. You should figure out some things you want to do in the new year that'll make your life better, or steps towards a goal that you could achieve in the year, right? It's listen, we talk all the time about like measuring sticks, right? You got to figure out what you're doing in life. And so little goals and stuff. There's a lot of things you can do when it comes to New Year's resolution. Here is what you don't do.
Tell everybody.
Don't put it on Facebook.
What if we talked about it on our podcast?
Again, I think, listen, a public declaration. I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to get the best job ever, making like buku bucks. Right? You make that announcement.
What happens if you don't?
All through the year, people are like, "This is hard."
But do you get mad if people call you out when like December?
I would say
plus 35.
Listen, I think most people aren't going to bust you out, but they're like, "Oh, I mean, I knew this loser wasn't going to do it when he posted it."
But here
I'm going to write a book this year. This motherfucker's illiterate. You know what I mean? It's like, I knew this bitch ain't going to read a book, let alone write one. And so they're not going to say anything to you. But the fact that you put it out there like a dumbass, you deserve the mocking glares. I feel like that's what you deserve. I'm not saying don't have a resolution. Just share it with a small group of people, maybe people who could help you achieve it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of resolutions. And I can tell you why, because people will set goals and say, I want to do X, Y, and Z, right? But there's a start and finish date, right? Like there's a line, right? And unless you're changing your life, right? Like you're not going to hit your goal, and it's just a temporary resolution, right? Like you can't be, I'm going to be this new person and do the same shit, right? Like I don't, like for me, like, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds. Say if that's your goal, right? Well, why not say, you know what? I want a healthier lifestyle. And if the weight comes off, it comes off, but you're living healthy. I think that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of like my vibe for 2025. I don't think I have like set goals. But I think for me, like I just want to change the way I'm living. And then whatever happens out of that is going to be what happened in 2025, right? I don't have a goal of, I want to make $1 million, or I don't want to look at social media so much. I think my overall, what I want to do in life and where my vibe is at. And then that was my 2025.
That is the epitome of white privilege right there. Vin's got his shit together. He doesn't really need.
Not true. That is not
really
true.
Need to do anything in 2025.
That is not true. That is not true at all.
But many of our listeners probably do. They probably do need to make some improvements in their lives.
Well, not everyone's killing it like you are. But if you're talking about improvements, is it like, hey, I don't know what the improvement is other than just be a better person, like live a better life, right?
Yeah, I feel like, so what are resolutions generally? I think if you break it down, you can break it into 5 categories. I think number 1, there's the, new year, new me.
It's horrible.
I thought it is a ridiculous thing. But again, I think to your point, that whole idea of like, I'm going to start all new. And it's like, well, you better change all your shit, everything. Because what you were doing before, correct me if I'm wrong, what you were kind of implying, what you were doing previous wasn't getting it done, and going on Facebook and being like, new year, new me, girl.
Well,
that doesn't mean a thing. And that's not just because you announce that you're going to do something, that's not any sort, that's step 0 in doing something.
Well, I think too, like people overestimate what they could do in a year and underestimate what they could do in 3 years, right? So instead of saying it's going to be a new year, new me, I'm changing everything about me. You say that on Sunday, you're failing by Tuesday because it's so overwhelming. Like you're trying to change all of your habits, like all of these negative things you perceive in one shot, instead of like building little habits, like setting, like you've already said, right? The little goals, like it's the little things. Like for me this year, one of my things talking about habits is habit stacking, right? I started that last year, got away from it, but this year it's just like the little habits, right? So like for me this year, like my little habits are, one is I didn't want to go on social media as much, right? So instead of saying I'm just going to stay off of social media, one of the tools I learned about is you change your phone to a gray screen, right? Everything's a grayscale. So now your brain is not triggered. It's not attracted to all the Instagram and Facebook and all the colors and stuff. My social media presence has been down by 40% since January 1st, right? And then so I keep that habit. This week, it's every morning after I work out, I write 3 things I'm grateful for today. Like in my life, I have the ability, like for example, today I didn't want to go to the gym, but I decided to go. I didn't give up on myself, and those 2 things. So you're building these like little habits, so you don't have the peaks and valleys, and you don't have this cliff you fall off, right? Like, I want to lose 100 pounds, right? And I want to lose 4-5 pounds a week, right? And if people get to 4, they're like, "Fuck, I failed, and I'm not going to do the rest of it." Instead of having those little habits, I think having an idea of I want to make my life better is fine, but the new year, new me, it's impossible because you don't need a new you. You just need to change something. So find some things you could change. But yeah, I agree with you on if it helps you and it motivates you because it gives you some accountability, you're like, I told everyone, so I'm going to go do it. But I did that one year. I remember, I think it was 2020 because I was just getting a divorce. And I'm like, I'm going to do a physique show. And I post it up there. Like, I'm just like, and I post this, like the whole like poster of what show I'm going to do. Ask me if I went to the show. Ask me if I went to the show.
I know you didn't go to the show.
No, I went to the show. I was just rooting for my friend who was on stage.
In 1 second, I need to ask you a question about the gym.
Yep.
But before I do, I have a friend who has 2 podcasts and hasn't done an episode of either of those in 3 or 4 years. Constantly goes on social media, and this is it, this week, this month, and then never comes through because she's a lazy piece of shit.
Oh man, I didn't want to say that. It wasn't me.
My question to you is, sorry, I had to say that.
That's horrible.
You were like, all right, I'm not going to the gym today.
Yeah.
But then you ended up going to the gym.
Yep.
I'd like you to tell the people what the motivation you and where you found it to drag your ass to the gym, because that's obviously a big one and people fail at that all the time.
Like, so I go to the gym 6 days a week, right? And I have a rest day. And I woke up and I'm like, you know what?
Like God.
Huh?
Like God.
Yeah.
It's an interesting.
It is Sunday,
it's an interesting routine.
Maybe
okay.
Maybe I am him.
Yeah.
Actually, I could be. I got a hat my buddy made me. It says him on it because I say it all the time. So I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of off. I deserve a little rest. And those are like, in my head, I always build these excuses. Like, I'm going to call this person at this time. And then that time comes and I find another excuse. And I just remember telling myself, and I'm like, listen, I'm doing it again. Just get up, not the Nike ad, but fucking do it. Like, instead of making the excuse and just justifying to yourself, it's okay. You could go on Sunday instead, which I could have, but I knew what I was doing. I already knew what game I was playing with myself. And I'm really trying to be cognizant of that. So I got to the gym. I had a really good workout. And like, I was super proud of myself. And I didn't go tell everyone, but like, bros, I didn't want to go to the gym today.
Guess what I did?
Yeah. But I think it was just like I knew what I was doing in my head. So being aware of that habit that I have, and that's like one of the habits I'm trying to break is I'm a procrastinator.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's what I did today. And I was super stoked because I saw it happening and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. And so I went and did it. So like, that's been kind of like one of my things I'm trying to work past. But I got a bunch of stuff, dude. I don't know if you heard of this guy, Adler. He was a philosopher. So I'm reading a bunch of his books. And one of the cool things is that he's a very much be present in today. Like his belief is like, hey, your past doesn't matter. You're not a product of your past. Like it happened, right?
Sounds like a guy with a past.
Yeah, like but like if you think about it, like if you dictate your today because of something that happened in the past, you're never getting to the future. Like you can't go back and change it, right? Like we get to control what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Right. And if you had a bad day, all right, cool. There's going to be another day tomorrow. Right. I tell people all the time, we spend so much time when we're having like a great moment, we just want to like be in that moment because it's great. Right. And you're like, man, I wish I had more time in that moment. And then when we have a bad moment, we just sit in it. Like we just sit in that bad moment. And then the next day we're like, man, we had a bad day yesterday and it just festers. But we're going to have a million moments throughout the day. So I'm really just focused on like, listen, what do I got to accomplish today? And trying to treat like every day, like this Thursday is completely separate from Wednesday, right? And my tomorrow is going to be a completely separate event from what happened today. And so like, it's just being cognizant of that. So going back to the gym, that's what I was thinking. But like, I was tired and I could do this tomorrow, but let me accomplish today. Because I think what happens, I know for me anyways, I set these things and I want to get to these points in my life and I'm not living in today because I'm already 3 months from now. And then you're always constantly in this failure mode because you're not there yet. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. Instead of just being like, what are my goals today? Right? Like whatever it is, it's like I eat one less sandwich or maybe I brush my teeth twice today. Like just, I mean, I brush them
2 more times than usual. Impressive.
But it's just, I think it's really that simple. Mm-hmm. So yes, I get mad with like the whole new year, new me stuff. Absolutely. Like I want to be a new person every year. Like I want to be better than I was last year. But I think for me, I'm learning that it's just the little habits, the little things, right? I had a conversation with a guy today and it was basically the same conversation because I'm a weirdo. I talk to everyone in the gym like they're on my podcast, like just randos. And he's like, well, it doesn't really matter what I do. I don't have a lot of friends. Like, who am I? And I'm like, listen, that's kind of insulting to you and to your friends that you do have, right? You're important to some people, right? So like for me, like if I'm being a good person and we're having honest conversations, and they may be learning something from me. Maybe they go tell that to a friend, right? And that friend tells another friend. Like your interactions with one person has a huge effect on everybody because it's a ripple effect. It's like the fucking rock in a pond, right? You see the ripple, but then you don't see the after effects of what happens after that ripple. But we're all in this. It's a big community-based thinking. So like for me, it's just, don't ever think you're like too small or too big to change because every little change you make doesn't just affect you, but it affects your son, your daughter, your wife, and all the people you come in contact with. And if they like that change, maybe they change something. And in turn, their friends are going to change because they're changing. And it's kind of my vibe right now.
It's funny. I always feel like when somebody tells me they don't have a lot of friends, I'm like, I get the sense that they're trying to get me to hang out. You know what I mean?
It always comes back to Joe. That's what I love.
It's like I don't have a lot of friends, Joe. You're asking me to hang out. Is that what you're doing? Because I'm in. Yeah, but I'm doing it.
I think I think it's, we always talk about like the friends things, the windows, doors, and floors. But I'm also like big into like I really want to like clean out the noise of my life, right? Like I used to want to be liked by everybody and like have all these friends, but I like the space I'm in, right? Like I want less noise in my life, right? And sometimes that's less people, right? So when people are like, hey, I don't have a lot of friends, and I'm like, that's kind of awesome, dude, right? Because then you're not stressed out about who you got to hang out with, who you got to call. And, like I have all these ideas, and now I'm sounding like the person you hate. That's what I realized. I'm that guy you hate, because I'm telling everyone what my game plan is for 2025.
Can I tell you my new plan? And I just thought of this.
Get rid of Vin on your podcast?
I just thought of this. Do you know somebody commented that on one of our YouTube videos? They were like, get rid of this guy.
That's awesome.
I was like, come on,
hurts,
dude.
man.
No, that ain't right.
New year, new me, new podcast.
New year. Yeah. New year, new me, new co-host. No, now I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. People with a lot of friends are people who would be more, who I feel like would prefer to have less around. And people who don't have a lot of friends, I think it's like the thing that you don't have, it tends to be the thing that you crave.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a person without friends, you kind of lament like, oh, I wish I had more friends. And it's like, if you got 20 new friends, you'd be like, man, I got too many goddamn friends and I don't have enough time to spend with all these people.
Well, I think too, you're compensating, right? Like you want to, if you have to be around people constantly, then you're just not happy with yourself.
Yeah. Well, and also, the people who complain, and you just kind of said this a minute ago, and it's insulting to the people who are your friends.
Correct.
I always feel it, because again, I had a friend. No, she wasn't my friend. A friend of a friend. Her name was Annie. She sucked.
Dude, I in 2025, Joe's calling out all of his friends.
I am. I totally am.
Now, this guy's just name dropping.
This is a different. This is a separate person getting called out in this podcast. Annie used to bitch to my friends that she didn't have any friends, and they'd be like, "Oh, Annie, you're the best. We love you." And I'm like, Annie, you're such an asshole. These people are like your friends. And all you're doing is like lamenting that you're not hanging out with the popular kids. That's what you're saying. You're not even appreciating the fact that these are your friends. And these guys are such losers that they ate that for lunch, even though Annie was very, very average, maybe below. Sorry.
Why are you so angry this year?
No, you know what? My 2025 is, I'm just going to tell it like it is, Vin. I'm just going to say what's on my mind. No filter.
Oh, one of those
I'm
guys.
lying. No. What if I was that guy? New year, new me, no filter. I'm just going to say what's on my mind.
So
I'm not going to put any thought into anything I say, and I'm going to tell you you're wrong based on my own experiences.
Man. This has gone sideways, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. It's the bourbon. We will be switching back to tequila the next show.
It's why you don't announce things. That's
so it's funny. So I've been reading. I read this book, The Courage to Be Disliked, right? And it's really just about knowing what your tasks are, and it's okay to be you. You don't got to make everybody happy, but you really got to focus on your own happiness. My wife said to me, she's like, you definitely don't need to read that book. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, you're so comfortable. It's like, I'm so comfortable being me. I don't care if people don't like me. But the book, it's not really about that. It's really trying to recognize what everyone's tasks are around you. So you don't have to be good at everything. You don't have to do everything. And people don't have to do everything you do, right? So we all have, I think we all have a purpose, a task in life, and you lean into it, right? Like you get people who are like, I'm going to lean into something I'm not good at so I can be good at it, which doesn't make any sense. Shout out to Deb, by the way.
She says switch back to ginger ale. I think she prefers the more coherent, well thought out podcasts. I don't blame her.
I'm trying to hold it together, Deb. I am. But
I wasn't expecting the bourbon, to be quite honest.
That was a party foul. We'll go back to the tequila, dude. But I think it's just like we all have you should lean into things that you're good at, right? Like I'm a big believer. Everyone's like, I'm gonna do this thing that I know I'm not good at, and I'm gonna become good at it. Well, chances are you probably won't. Instead of figuring out what you're good at, lean into that and be great at it, right? Because we can't be great at everything, right? So like these are all like, I think for me, like I know it sounds like I have a bunch of stuff going on, but it's really the same thing of just like being aware of where I'm at this year.
So let me give you an example of what Vinny's saying. When Vinny decided he wanted to become a podcaster, he came to me and he
You're
said,
good at it.
He said, "I've heard you're the best."
Facts. Facts.
He said, "I heard you're the best there is."
Cap.
Then he said, "I don't want to learn any of this shit. I want you to do it for me. I just want to do the talking part."
Big facts.
How much does it cost to just do the talking?
Yes.
That's how it went.
That's
That's exactly how it went. And I'll tell you what. I thought that was brilliant. And right off this guy's such an entertaining person that, pretty much from the start, I was like, yeah, just do that.
Oh, stop it.
And I'll do all the buttons and
Oh,
stuff.
stop it.
But that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You find people who are good at what they do,
yeah,
and you have them do. You don't have to learn everything. I think the most important thing you could know
is what you don't know.
Is what you don't know. And that's most stuff.
Yeah.
And the willingness to admit you don't know something, some people feel it's a sign of weakness. I think the sign of weakness is trying to do something that you have no business doing in the first place.
It's also like I have Purgatory in my building, right? So I go down there, we talk to the girls all the time, and we were talking about like the owner and like management and their management style, and do the employees have a say in certain things? And I just started laughing because I think about my office. I think I'm pretty good at staying in my lane. So even though my name is on the door, I know that Natasha's really good at this, or Bella's really good at this, and Taylor's really good at this. And it's stuff that I may be okay at, but I'm good at the lawyer stuff, right? So I really try to lean on my staff, and people are like, oh, you don't do this at your house, or you have people do this. I was like, because it frees me up to do the stuff I'm really great at.
Right.
And I tell my clients that all the time. I had a client that came in, just wrapped up his custody case. Nice guy, but it's like ADHD with a bag of cocaine. Like it was extreme. He'd be talking to you, then it's like grilled cheese sandwich type stuff. Like it was all over the place. But I'm like, listen, man, I'm not going to go paint a house. I can't go paint like what you're doing, but you're paying me for what I do, right? So you stay in your lane, let me stay in my lane. I think that applies to all spots of life. And Joe is completely correct. I'm like, listen, I don't know the first thing about podcasts at all. I just want to talk. And it worked out. But it's because Joe knows what he's doing, and our relationship has blossomed, I think.
Well,
but this wasn't the intention. Was, to be honest with you, it wasn't like he was going to kind of slow walk me into it, and then I'm going to go off. But as we did it, like this, it works. It's much better. And we're two different people, but we both know our lanes, and we both realize that, right? Like, and I think to your point is the bigger person is saying, hey, I'm not good at that, or I don't know that, right? It's the idiot is the person who pretends he knows it or she knows it. Then you're an idiot, because if you don't think people don't know, you don't know. Newsflash. Like I can tell you I'm very good at what I do in law, and people think they know more than me. And it drives me crazy, because you have to be able to see it. Right. But it just really makes me like mad. Like it really does, because I think I'm very good at leaving people to do what they do. And I think we don't all have to be good at everything. There has to be this Renaissance guy. Like if we were all just great and the parts we're supposed to be great in, this world would be fantastic.
I spent 6 years basically self-employed and launched a media company, hosting podcasts, all sorts of cool stuff. And over the last year now, I've been working for a person who owns a radio station. And he's one of those people who doesn't stay in his lane.
Mhm.
He feels like because he owns the radio stations that he has input on everything. And I hate that with a flaming passion. And it came to a head about 3 months ago. And I just confronted the guy. I literally just went up to my boss. He actually came in to say hi to me. And I kind of laid into him and was like, again, this idea of like, I know what I'm doing. If you don't have something like instantaneously productive, don't send it to me. Don't send me a text like I don't like this guest that you're speaking to. That doesn't do shit for anybody because I can't change who the guest is in the middle of an interview. So do me a favor, okay? Because I know what I'm doing. I know how to do my job. If there's something like that happens, just keep it to yourself.
Talk to me after.
Now, if there's a something else playing, and I just don't hear it, and you're giving me something like, oh hey, there's a commercials playing in the back. Okay, great, I could turn that off. That's constructive and helpful in the moment.
Yeah.
So I did that about 3 months ago, and it just occurred to me yesterday. I've not heard from my boss since that day. At all.
Yeah.
And I think he just needed a reminder that you hired me because I know how to do this really well. And I only came to work here because I kind of thought we agreed you'd leave me the fuck alone.
Well, I mean, you're a bit aggressive. I like it, but I think
you have to.
You
have got to be your biggest proponent in life because in once you leave your mom, there really is not anybody out there like it's my guy Vin. That's the guy.
No,
you don't really. I mean, unless you join a networking group, you're not going to find people out there promoting you or your business or your skills or whatever. You got to do it yourself, and it does come across as a little aggressive. But
no,
I've seen what happens to the people that just kind of stand there and take it.
Well, no, you're completely right, right? So you have two choices in life. Either you're going to dictate your direction or you're going to live someone else's idea of your life.
Yep.
Right? I'm 100% on board with that. And I think you're right if his critique is just completely useless, right? But I had a conversation with another attorney maybe last week. And he's known as a hard ass. Like he is. He comes across that way. I know it's not his intention, but he asked me, like we were having these conversations. We're in his office, we're away from everybody. And he's like, Vinny, am I missing something? And I'm like, no, I think for me and him, we deal well together. I read people well. He knows me. I know him. But I'm like, listen, what you need to do is instead of having these conversations in this environment, you need to have the conversation in your office. Like we're having the conversation, right? You don't need to change who you are. You change where you're being you in, right? If you're being you in this certain situation with all these people around, you're going to come off standoffish and abrasive. But if you sit here and I'm sitting on your couch and we're just having the conversation, it's how you approach it. So it's not a you as far as your personality and your morals, but you have to learn how to be you in every situation effectively. So that's kind of the way I look at it because I am a very aggressive person. I had a friend of mine's kid job shadowed me. She's like, so her mom is a very good divorce attorney and she wanted to see some criminal stuff. So I'm like, all right, cool. Come with me. We're in the hallway. And she's like, you're so aggressive. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, and I don't notice it. She's like, you said the F word like 17 times in this hallway. And she's like, you're always just aggressive. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But I felt so bad for her though. So we're sitting in chambers in pre-trial, and I didn't have the case at the time, but this case comes in, and it's like this older guy is having like anal sex with this very young person. And I'm just like, of all days to sit there, and I'm like, my bad. But the point is like, I'm aggressive like you. But not that I'm trying to temper it down. I think I'm just trying to understand people's perspectives more. But I am with you too. Like, if you're going to come at me with some nonsense that's not productive and it's just a power play, it's not going to happen. I've been doing it too long. You've been doing this too long. And I'm going to worry about what I'm doing in my day. But I think it's also too, going back to what you know and don't know, don't be afraid to say, hey, am I approaching this different? Right? Have those conversations, and you don't have to be right or wrong, but understand the perspective, right? Because then you're never going to know, or you're never going to improve. And maybe you don't agree with them, but hey, this is how I'm going to be more effective in this situation, which just in turn benefits you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely true.
So no, it's gonna be but I think it's gonna be an interesting year. I'm like super stoked about 2025. I am.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really thought much about it. The calendar flipped. I got a lot going on. Things are good.
Yeah.
Work is good.
It's first world problems. Like, what do we have to complain about, Joe?
I'll tell you what.
I want to know what your biggest complaint is.
My biggest complaint. I'll tell you, my biggest complaint right in this moment is that this bourbon is delicious and it's going down really smooth, and that does concern me a little bit.
It is a good one.
If you're good at what you do,
for our listeners, we're drinking a little barrel bourbon private release. So if you want to sip along with us, feel free. What's Deb got to go over here?
If you're good at what you do, all you have to do is be good at what you do. You may have to explain that ain't run.
I don't know what that word is.
Yeah, and I think that's.
But I got your vibe, Deb.
Yeah, we
definitely
got what you're putting down.
Yeah, and I think it's also putting the people in positions around you so you're good in any situation, right? Like, I mean, you could take that in any aspect of your life. I know, like, my wife, me and my wife are very different people in almost every aspect in life. But what I lack, she brings to the table. And I like to think what she lacks, I bring to the table. So this way we're never uneven. We're always on an even playing field, and we always balance each other out, right? If you had two people that are just the same way, you're always going to be heavy on one side. So, but it's knowing that and being comfortable with, hey, I don't have that like in my personality or my thought process, but let me get someone who does. So this way, if I'm in a situation and I need that type of thought process, I have it. And it's the same thing with your friend group. I don't want a million friends that are like me, right? I don't want to do a podcast with my twin, right? Like, I want someone that we can have conversations with, different views, different takes on things. And because it just adds to my life. My life is fuller because I have these different people with different experiences, and knowing that, hey, I may never experience that, but I could live that through Joe or my wife, or they think that way. I mean, I would agree with it, but that's another way I can think about it if I want to, and just to be secure enough to understand that. So when I say have the courage to be disliked, it's not like, hey, run around and be an asshole, right? But like, understand that person is their person, you're their, you're your person, and just be comfortable with what you know. I think that's the biggest thing.
It's self-censoring, I think, is important too. When you just said that you and your wife bring out the best in each other, that you make up for stuff she's lacking, I thought in my head, she's not really lacking anything. And then I thought, if I say that out loud, that's going to sound like messed up. And so I kept that inside, and I giggled twice.
Yeah, no, everyone
at
does.
The thought of that.
Everyone does. when I say that, and my wife she's not perfect. I'm not going to give her the perfect.
Claudia's
mark.
not lacking anything.
Lacking or slacking.
Yeah, that I'm sure she's got flaws like everybody else.
Well, she has a very active mind, so her brain doesn't shut off, and I could go with the flow a lot more.
Yep.
So I think that's what I bring to the table, kind of the levity of life a little bit. But other than that, no, she doesn't lack much, and it's super frustrating because I'm like the man purse. I'm just the +1 all the time when she's around. That's why I don't mind when she goes away to places, because then I get my shine back. Or
that's hilarious.
Or I can tell you this. This is my favorite thing now. So Jess is dating this girl Piper in high school. Great girl, love her to death. And my Instagram name is Jigga Daddy, right? So I'm kind of a legend in high school, which is it's my claim to fame.
Your high school or
no, theirs.
Oh yeah. I'm cool. That's what I figured.
Yeah. So you go to the basketball game, and either Piper or like her friend Kylie, you would hear Jigga Daddy across the gymnasium, and it's the best moment of my life. Like every time it happens,
I would think so.
And it's like the little thing. So last night I was just my kid be downstairs, be like, Jigga Daddy, and my wife is just like looking around the house, like why are high schoolers shouting out my husband? But and then I get sad because I'm like, I only got like 4 months of this. Like if I show up next year to a girls' basketball game and I have nothing to do with high school, and they're screaming Jigga Daddy, I got some issues. So it's kind of sad. Like I think like also with the turn of the calendar, knowing that this is the last half of high school for the kid, that's a really like hit in the face. So that's gonna be the struggle bus, I think, for the next 4 months for me. So I mean, I'm excited about it, but it's like I didn't have a lot of time to go through it. So it'll be but it's also he's 17 and completely frustrating. He'll be 18 in April, and it's just like these kids are just built different. Like they're all trying to make money, but not work.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a DraftKings. I want to trade stocks, and I'm like, I'm not a finance guy, dude. Like I'm not the one to ask, but I set up a Zoom meeting last Friday with like some financial dudes. Nice guys. You guys want to get your stuff together, go to these guys. But it's not my cup of tea. But I'm like, Jess, you could log on, learn about this stuff. He didn't show up.
He didn't do it.
He
didn't do it.
But it's interesting. So, doing the whole college thing, but it's going to be a good year. But I think now that I think about it, it's going to be kind of a sad year. September, I'm going to be stuck in the house with my wife. Did I say that out loud? Come on, you got to censor that. But yeah, man,
20. That's the edit mark. All right, yeah,
it's crazy. I just, but yeah, man, everything else is good. I can't complain. Dog rescue. I need people. I need fosters. So if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching it now, I need foster families for my dogs, like something like Fierce.
How can they get in touch with you to foster?
Just call my cell phone, 860-680-5731. I just went Mike Jones. Everyone has my cell phone now. 860-680-5731. Don't care if you're a weirdo. Call me, but I need foster families. I got a bunch of great dogs. Some are in Connecticut. Some are down in Nashville at the kennel at Positive Rescue. Adopt if you just got time for a foster for a month or two. Be a huge help. Joe, you want to foster a dog? Put him on the spot.
Oh my God. My dog's insane. If there's a dog that would get along with a stupid dog, my dog's that one. My dog's a dumbass.
It's tough. I had 2 placements that fell through last Saturday, and it breaks my heart. Like,
I also feel like the good kind of people that would be foster people probably already have animals.
Well, they do. Some do. Some like they're not tied down for like a whole bunch of time with a dog. But we have like it's just frustrating. It's a frustrating thing to try to do the dog rescue because you get your hopes up and then they come crashing down, and then there's always dogs you want to save. So we're at this. We just got like a laundry basket of puppies. like literally a laundry basket.
Really?
It's like fucking 12 puppies in a laundry
What
basket.
kind of puppies are they?
They're just like mutts. They're the cutest things you'll ever see. They're so cute. They're 4 weeks old. It's crazy.
No, I kind of want one.
No, I got a guy named Beamer now. He's got these like crooked ears. And he's the coolest dog like ever. And I placed his siblings already, so like I'm like at the brink of I'm gonna have to send him back to Nashville. Like, and I'm on a crazy mission because I can't put that kid back on a plane. But it's tough. But yes, if anyone is interested in fostering or rescuing a dog, we got a bunch where we had Miranda Lambert just donated a bunch of money to us.
Really?
Ella Langley's on the board. Yeah, we got like all these like.
Is the country? What's the country girl's name?
Ella Langley.
Ella Langley. Is that why Miranda Lambert got involved?
Yeah,
or?
and I think we just got a bunch of dogs from like I think Clint Black.
Oh, nice.
He found the dogs, so now we're putting the dogs out there. So yeah, we got some big things coming, but I can't do much if I can't move dogs. So.
That Jelly Roll, I don't think I trust that guy.
I love Jelly Roll.
I don't know if I'd let him near my dog.
Why? Jelly Roll's great.
I don't know.
You ever hear Jelly Roll rap? It's pretty
something
good,
I don't trust about that guy.
Why?
I don't know what it is.
He's so good.
I don't know. It could be that he murdered somebody when he was a kid. I don't know. Maybe that's got something to do with it, Vin.
We all change.
Yeah.
Did you like my T-shirt, by the way?
I love your T-shirt.
The Andre 3000.
That's so cool.
Yeah, right? I was pretty excited about it. But yes, dog rescue. Need that. Podcast can be a big year for our podcast. I'm putting it out there now because Joe hates this, but I want to build a podcast studio. And I've been asking Joe to help out.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, no, that's my New Year's resolution to get Joe to really help me with my podcast studio.
Don't announce it.
I just did. I'm putting it on Facebook as soon as I get out of here.
You know what? I will. Let's try to. Can we do it this weekend?
Possibly if it doesn't snow.
Maybe I'll come take that dog too. Beamer? Is that his name?
Beamer. Everyone want to see Beamer?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the people who are going to be listening to this audio is probably bored out of their mind right now.
Look Beamer up.
But check out positiverescuedivision.com.
Pause. PAWS. Ativ.
Yes.
Rescuedivision.com. Division.com.
That's my boy Beamer.
Oh my God. Is his ears always like that?
Yeah.
Dude, he looks like a cartoon. What's with the eyes?
Hey, it's like he got makeup on.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. My boy Chase got his sister and their friends got Bugatti. Dog's name is Bugatti, which is funny. But
it is funny.
Super chill, easygoing, likes all dogs, people, kids. Really laid back dog, easy to care for. He had a family, but they lived in an apartment. Neighbor kept calling the landlord, and then so we had to take him. So he's up in Hebron right now, but we might have to send him back to my kennel. Not excited about that, but he's a good dude. He's a good guy. But we got a bunch. We got some collie mixes. We got some lab mixes. I got some 3-legged dogs, if that's your preference. I do. I have a lot of 3-legged.
That's crazy. I don't want a dog with 3 legs.
Why? Kemma is the greatest. Kemma's getting a prosthetic. That's why Miranda Lambert gave us the money so the dog could have a fake leg.
Miranda Lambert is an angel from heaven.
She is. And I didn't get to meet her because I don't get to meet all the famous people because I'm up here. But I'll be going down to Nashville at the end of the month. So
really,
maybe I won't be back
ever.
Listen, if a famous person sees me, they're gonna be like, "Damn, gotta scoop them up."
If a famous person sees you, you're gonna be like, "That's another famous person."
Facts. Are we gonna do one of these substance cards before this thing really falls off the racks? Deb, how are we doing today? By the way,
I think this is a very straightforward, very straight-laced episode, and it's a lot of it. I think has to do with Deb.
I like
Deb keeps us on track. You know what I mean?
What do we got here? Question of the night.
What is your favorite quality about yourself?
Oh, I can't wait for you to answer this one.
My eyes.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm just kidding. You know what my favorite quality is about myself? My ability to adapt to any situation. My ability to also stay calm in high pressure situations. I would just say my general coolness.
Okay.
That's a good quality I have. I don't get high. I don't get low. I'm pretty even keel.
I like it. I like
I
it.
think that's what I do best.
I think my favorite quality is a new quality I have. It's just acquired. Not like yesterday, but in the grand scheme of my 45 years, is my awareness of me.
Yep.
Like
Your self-awareness.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. But I think it's just that I'm really figuring out like the whole gym thing today. Like I already knew what game I was playing with myself. So really being in tune with that and saying, hey, it's okay to have these conversations about it. I think that's my biggest quality is probably to have that open conversation and that honest conversation. I like to think that's my biggest quality for right now, but that might change. But I think you're spot on. Like I do think you're calm, cool, and collected. As long as you don't have your bourbon.
It's bourbon.
As long as you don't have the gas. We doing one more card before we end this night?
Yeah, that couldn't have gone
All
any
right.
better. That was an easy one. Anytime the question's something about yourself, it's like, oh, I'll nail this one quick.
These are perfect for the new year questions. So this is a good one too. Let them know what that one is.
Ooh. What is one life goal you hope to achieve before passing away? That's a really good one.
That's a big one. Like I don't think I've ever thought about that.
I do.
He's locked and loaded.
I already know what it is. As
All
soon
right.
as I saw the card, I could already tell you what it is. I want to call a professional boxing match for ESPN or Showtime, or HBO or ESPN. Did I already say HBO?
And you said ESPN.
Probably HBO. Yeah, but anyway, that is a goal that I have. It's something I'm working towards. Even in my adulthood, it's something I definitely think will happen.
All right. I'm not gonna lie, I've never thought about it.
All right. Well, it's a
Oh,
pass. It's a pass for Vin this week.
No, I don't like it sounds this is gonna come to like the rich white guy privilege thing again, right?
I got it all.
But like
I got it all. What else do I gotta do?
I don't set these like lifetime. This is lifetime achievement.
No,
goals.
for reals though. Would you? I mean, there's gotta be something that you would like to do that I'm sure has crossed your mind from time to time.
Well, that's a different question. That's not a lifetime goal.
Well, it could be a no, that's
I
fair.
will tell
That's
you-
fair. Again, my goal is something that is I think kind of in a related industry,
Yeah.
right? It's at the highest level of the industry, right? You're talking about, you know, there's a dozen people that call fights.
Yeah, they're iconic
on
people,
ESPN and HBO and Showtime. It's like a dozen people. So obviously it's one of those things where, and again, it's something I've only, because I enjoy the sport, because I enjoy doing it on the amateur level, it's become a goal where it's like, I would love to do this professionally. I think I'm good enough. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from people. So it's something that I'm actively pursuing. And really, it's just to see if I can do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no real, what's the payoff if I achieve that?
No, like, and I, from your profession and your standpoint, I understand that. I don't have that in my profession. Like, I don't have, well, if I get here as a lawyer, I've hit the pinnacle.
What if it was addressing the Supreme Court?
I give two fucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't care.
Like, I don't like. I mean, it's probably my attitude towards my profession. Like, not to brag, but I'm good where I'm at. Like, I think if I was a really, and I just had this conversation with my wife a couple nights ago. I have a lot of conversations with her. I would like to go get certified as a dog trainer. Like if I didn't. Okay, it's super lame as a lifetime goal. I told you that. I don't have a lifetime goal. I'm here. I'm now. Like, what am I supposed to do, Joe? I had a conversation
Privileged
with my
white people. I swear to God.
No, you're gonna understand why in a minute. Why I don't have a lifetime goal. So I talked to my mom 2 days ago. Super chilly out, right? A little tip and nipply, right? A little cold. She's like, Vin, a little cold out. I was like, no, Mom, it's not cold because you'd shut the heat off at night when I was in the basement in my bedroom with a concrete floor and a hatchway, right? So no, it was like I slept outside. So if I'm looking at where I'm at now, kudos, dude. I've hit the lottery. So I don't think I've ever had that lifetime goal. But if I was to say, hey, is there something outside of my profession that I would like to do and I'm not doing, right? And it's not like, hey, I just want to go get certified as a dog trainer and I'm done. I would like to be in that field, right? Like I would like to do something where I had my own dog sanctuary in an ideal world, and I was able to train dogs and rehabilitate dogs. I think that's my biggest thing. In an ideal, like I don't got to worry about money world, then yeah, that's cool. But I don't have. I'm envious. I don't have that like professional goal of like I want to be golf law.
Oh my God!
Shout out.
Hey, real quick. How is she putting all those billboards up with celebrities? I mean, obviously, she must know quite a bit about copyright law. How has she got all those billboards up?
Yeah, but there's celebrities that need money, bro. It's like Vanilla Ice. He's, fucking Mike Tyson.
You think she's legit paying for it?
Yeah, no, yeah, she is. Yeah, ooh, yeah. But like, shout out
the
to
Jared
her,
Goff commercial is terrible, by the way. And I'm just gonna put that out there.
I was thinking about.
I don't like it. I don't like the way it was shot. I don't care for it.
Listen, it works for them and whatever Mario Carter and Carter Mario, whatever the name is. Like, good for them. I don't have those aspirations.
You don't want to be on a billboard?
No, I'm not going to put my daughter out on a billboard to get business. Just not my cup of tea. I'm probably not going to sit out there pregnant, rubbing my belly, be like, oh, I got to pay for two. Not me. But if you want a normal, down-to-earth attorney who's going to get busy in court, holla at your boy. I'll give you my cell phone again, 860-680-5731. I'm not shy. Get a dog. Get a divorce. Call me.
You ever seen that commercial? I think it's Tim Meadows. He's a lawyer, and I'm just going to use his name because I can't remember the name of the character, but it's like in the commercial, he's like, I'm Tim Meadows. If you call me to be your lawyer, I'll try my best. And then it's like a testimonial, and somebody's like, I got hit by a bus. I could have got a lot more money, but Tim Meadows tried his best. No. And that's the whole commercial, dude. Like, hire this dude because he tries his best. That's his whole angle.
It's so bad. But going kind of along those lines. So I had a client, we just settled a case for like $340,000. It was a big case. And it's the second time this guy's like hurt his knee being a postman. It's just the other knee. So I've made a lot of money off this one guy. But there are cases that he could have went to anybody. And if you saw me interact with my client, I'm stupid rude to this client. Mm-hmm. Like, brings my fucking paralegals like crumble cookie all the time. Like, just says crazy stuff. And I'm just mean to him. But he's like, Vin, you're like my family. I interact with him like he's my like uncle, right? Yeah. And I told him, I took him out after my listen, I know you could have gone anywhere else, right? Like I'm not, whatever firm, Marquis scratch my bone and hairy belly, whatever they are. Like I'm just this like little firm, so I appreciate your business. But it's kind of that like, hey, I am who I am, mm-hmm. and one of the things we didn't touch on, and then we could go. Now that I thought about it. I'm reading this stuff by this guy Adler, and one of the things he's big on is, like, say you're a teacher and don't look at your students as students, but as friends. Like, if you dealt with everyone as though they're your friend, like you spoke to them as your friend, like they're not your client, like think about them as your friend. Like you interact with those people differently. Yeah. Right. So like I really took that to heart this week because I would get so frustrated because people didn't understand what I was saying. Like my clients, I'm like, how do you not understand the process? And my wife be like, Vin, they don't do this for a living. Like, I'm like, because in my head, I can't come. I'm like, I talk to them like they're idiots. And then, so like this week, I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to them like they're my friend, like they're Joe, you know? And they're like, look at my eyes. My eyes are so nice.
One more question about
Yeah.
these billboard people. Are motorcycle crashes extremely lucrative?
Oh, yeah.
Is that like
Yeah,
a
because
thing?
you don't get a small injury. Like, it's not like you get it like, oh, I gotta like I pull the back muscle. You get launched off a bike. You're a veggie.
We ride.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like give it a break. Like, it's so funny to me. Like, whatever. You guys want to go hire all the big personal injury firms? I can tell you which ones are good besides Mancini, Provenzano, and Footner. That's me. Go to Flood Law. Right? Go there. They're good people. They got a big firm, but they're gonna do good work. Shout out to Flood Law. Hire me. What's up? But it's a
Really?
no, they're not gonna.
That's
hire me.
hilarious.
I'm not getting a job there. But like
that guy looks sketchy as fuck.
No, he's good though. I know some of the attorneys.
I'm just his face.
But come
sketchy
me first.
face.
MPF Law. Come to me first. But it is a racket. I don't need to make $1 million off of one person because I do a general practice. But it's tough for me as a business aspect because I don't have the marketing dollars to compete. Like, they're spending $150,000 a month on advertising. So us small attorneys, like we're not doing that. But I build my practice on being me, staying in my lane, and people like it. And if you don't let the door hit you.
Imagine if those.
You didn't finish this saying. That was an awful fumble.
I hate that expression. I don't know. It makes me feel awkward.
You could have pretended it was even worse.
You know what I did? I clenched my buttocks when you said that.
We only had 3 viewers tonight, dude.
No, you didn't see a little while ago. There was a fucking bunch of people. It spiked up.
Then what happened? You started talking?
They saw the bourbon and they were like, uh-oh.
Bourbon Bob came out. That's your new name, Bourbon
Watch
Bob.
out for Bourbon Bob. Bourbon Bob don't give a fuck.
Okay, we got to go, guys. It's not
yeah. So anyway, listen, I thought
great show.
This went well. From my own standpoint, I thought this went real well.
I think we went too long without a show too. So could we be a little more consistent?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I was actually going to give you that compliment too earlier. When we first started talking about doing this podcast, after Vin was like, "I just want to do the talking, you do all the other stuff," I was like,
stay in the background, Joe.
The most important thing is you have to show up every week. And like the first week, he didn't show up. He last minute bailed out. And I was like, I'm not going to put any pressure on the guy because I know this could be a little nerve wracking. And then the second week, I think you put me off a day or two, but you ended up coming in that week anyway. And we just threw you right on camera. It's just so like, bad. Dude, you know what? Just going to put him on camera.
Go ahead.
And I'll tell you what, we had him on camera for like 20 minutes and he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it was like, oh, see? This guy's going to be fine. And it really does come down to, as long as you come here every week and do this, I think you're going to be great. And it has, we went like 3 weeks, obviously, because of the holidays and stuff without a show. But yeah, it's, I'll tell you right now, the number one reason podcasts fail is they just can't keep up. It's hard to do.
It's a lot. And I will say for Joe, it's a ton because he's doing a ton of other podcasts. He's got a job and he's got a family. So that doesn't go unseen either. Not getting all mushy about it. But
I appreciate that. No, it's fun. It's fun to do this, and I really enjoy doing this one.
Yeah, and it like we really appreciate the listeners. Like for me, it's kind of cathartic, and I'm able to come out and have these conversations. It's a good time. But I try to be consistent as much as we can. And it's good when some people call and be like, hey, where's your show at? So it makes you feel good too. But it's going to be a good year. Cheers to a 2025, but just doing work, doing what we do. And Joe's staring into the camera, real creepy. Joe and some bourbon, he loves his eyes after a couple of glasses of bourbon.
Bourbon Bob.
So you guys just listening on the audio, you might be lucky today.
I'm cross-eyed at this point. Jesus.
Cheers, everyone. Change of plans. It's me and Joe. Rescue some dogs at Positive Rescue Division.
Yeah, hit Vinny up,
please.
or even just comment on here or whatever have you. If you could help us out on the dog rescue, changeofplansct.com is the website. Make sure you check that out.
Please.
For Vinny, I'm Joe. Appreciate you watching this week's episode, and we'll be back. We'll be back weekly from here on out.
We're just gonna close out the show, Joe. Just say
I
bye.
gotta tell you, I love my new MacBook is the best. But if there's one thing,
say bye, people.
It look, do you see this? I can't get it to scroll downward. I just want a downward scroll here.
This thing's tanking. Preach, Deb.
Yeah,
Deb, we're gonna log off at some point. This is getting real. You better cut this part out.
Why can't look at this?
Just
How
log
ridiculous.
out. Hit end stream.